Yeah, I think he's been consistent, I feel like, since we've been here, and there's a game, 6-7 games ago where he didn't have any catches, maybe New Orleans, and and then he's been hot since then, and a lot of it's just the way the game goes, but he's a guy that we trust, makes the tough catches. He's one of those guys that, if it's one-on-one, he's not really covered. If you can locate the ball where he can get it and the defender can't, he comes down with the catch way more than average. So just a trustworthy guy, big, good hands, good route runner, and just kind of what we expect from him.
Joe, when you went through the explosive reel from Sunday, you tend to see Quinn at the end of a lot of those plays, finishing them. I'm just curious, when you have a guard with that kind of athleticism, are you intentional about building that into what you guys are doing offensively?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's such a, he's got such extraordinary strength, and he plays hard, and there's a reason why he got that contract. He's, we feel like he's one of the best guards in the NFL, and we count on him a lot to win his battles, and just love his aggressiveness, and like you said, the way he finishes plays, and just a big part of any success that we have.
Each play when you go up against the defense, there's an answer to what you need to do, whether it's changing another play or something big. I guess how much more are you seeing him find those answers in weeks one?
Yeah, I think you really see his growth, and I was just talking to him earlier in the week. There's still plays maybe that we're used to. We've been around for 10, 15 years, and that he's been around just for a few months. And there's still a couple completions every game that I think, as he gets more experience, he's going to find that maybe he's not finding now. And I think every week, he's finding a couple more of those. And so I just think it's just going to continue. I just think it's going to keep going up as he gets more experience and more looks at the same concepts. Just the timing, and what equals him being open, what equals me being able to make that throw. And like I said, that just comes from experience and time. And so I just think he's just going to continue to grow in that way.
When you look at this rookie class as a whole, a lot of these guys are contributing. There are commonalities between all these players, and when you look back at that evaluation process, feel validated about some of the decisions that the organization made?
Yeah, I think our personnel department does such a good job of, they're good evaluators, but also just getting information to you about, what are the work habits of these guys, what's the maturity level, and obviously the talent of a player is important to us, but also what kind of worker he is, how he is in the locker room. Like, those things carry a lot of weight with us. And it's hard in the draft process for us to, as a coach, to get all that information. So the way that our scouts and personnel department do that is fantastic. And obviously they were spot on with a lot of these guys because the maturity that they have, their competitive stamina. I mean, it's a longer season and it's a longer workday than maybe they're used to in college, and these guys have really adapted very well to it. So, you asked about the commonalities. They love football. They're not afraid to work, and they've got the stamina to sit in there in the meetings and the practices, and not lose focus. And so, for some guys that takes longer than others to adapt to that, and they've done a great job doing it.
Two weeks ago, Audric led the team in rushing. Last week, Devontae.
Yeah.
Hot hand approach is that you have an idea who's going to lead the team in rushing?
I would never know going into a game. I mean, there are a handful of plays where we're like, hey, we want Javonte in on this play, or we want Audric, or we want, but a lot of it is, Lou deciding who's in on the, who's in on this series, who's in on this play. And, I think I said last week, if, guys hitting 8-yard gains, 5-yard gains consistently, it's easy to keep giving them the ball. And so, you said hot hand. I think that's a good way to look at it.
Well, Sean, you talked about it a bunch kind of throughout the whole year. It's hard to figure out the 3 running back rotation. That 2 obviously much easier. So how many conversations are you having and talking to running backs coach about figuring out the best way to use all 3?
Yeah, I mean, we spend a lot of time in the staff room every night, game planning whatever's up the next day. Today was third down, so not as much as far as who we're handing the ball to, but Tuesday night, putting in the run plan, red zone. So yeah, we talk about who we would prefer, and that's the plays that might get tagged. Like, hey, this is a Jaleel play, this is a Javante play, this is an Audric play, and other times it's whoever's in on the play is going to get it. So we spend a significant amount of time on really every position, receiver, tight end. Who do we want in on this play? And some of our personnel groupings are quite long, just to get the right people in. What we have to tell everyone to get the right people in on the play, and other times it's just, we say, hey, this is 11 personnel, and whatever running backs in the rotation, that's who's getting that play.
JFM maybe doesn't have huge stats so far. Where has he impacted your front the most as you've done this year?
He's been huge for us. First of all, as a run defender, he's been stout. Secondly, as a pass rusher, being opposite of Zach, it's good to have a guy who can win a one-on-one. Rushing 4, obviously, they can turn to Zach or turn to JFM, and right now it's a balance act. So he's winning, Zach's winning, so it's kind of a guessing game for the offense.
Have you gotten more from him as a run defender than even like what you saw when you watched him in New York? Has he always been?
I'm not sure how to answer that. I mean, he was good in New York as a run defender. He's been good for us. So
I was talking to you about when you've got a guy like Bowers who's inside as opposed to outside, it can sometimes create more challenges for a defense. I guess what is the difference when you've got somebody who can line up close to one scrimmage?
I think for most tight ends, the challenge of trying to just gather him in a pass game on all downs, right? It's runs and passes, certain formations, right? He can be wherever he wants to be, so it's tough to allot coverage to a guy on 1st and 10 when it's a certain formation. So that's why tight ends are always guys to have that can create bad matchups for you. They're hard to find, and it's hard to dedicate your entire coverage system to a tight end because he's moving so many places, and it's also run and pass involved. So that makes it tough. But obviously on certain D&Ds, you have a plan to kind of get him stopped. He's special. He's got, 70 catches a year, and I think he had about 16 targets last week. But he can score touchdowns, and that's the difference with this guy. He's a touchdown maker. He's a hard tackle. He can run. He's got great ball skills. So if you don't corral him early, he can score on you.
Guys, beyond Bowers, just production, being significant. How different is his offense? Look at the changes they've made. Coaching changes.
It's only been one week, on tape as far as the new coordinator, new O-line coach, new kind of philosophy. But it looked good, especially in the first half against the Dolphins. They're in that game. The running game was crisp. It was working. The passing game was quick. It was efficient. Obviously, Brock played very well. They've got Meyer back now. He's tight end. I mean, he's a high draft pick who's a target also. He's a great blocker, inline blocker. So they have a chance to run their 2 tight end sets to keep you off balance with running pass game. So it's always tough to track 12 personnel because it can look like 11 and be a pass, and Brock can be a receiver, or it can look like 12 and be an inline run. So it's good to have 2 tight ends, one who's a joker type, receiver type, so you can go between 12 and 11 personnel looks.
One reason why Nick is caught up in the sacks is you're trusting him more on rundowns too. How has he evolved as a run defender on the day?
Well, he's gotten stronger. He's never been a bad run defender, but most natural pass rushers are pass rushers first. That's their instinct. But he's developed the strength and the mindset to be an edge setter. And he's good at it now. So I think overall, Mike, stopping the run and playing with the lead, he's getting more opportunities also. So as a rusher, he's always been a good rusher, but the opportunities was limited, in the past here. But he has gotten better in all phases of his game.
Zach, I'm curious what goes into deciding where an outside linebacker, which side he rushes from. Is that something where you lean on player personal preference? Is it scheme based? How do you sort of decide which side guys rush?
It's all of it. I mean, it's scheme, right? You have certain calls where guys are lining up certain places. It's also personnel driven. It's who you want to attack with certain rushers. So it's all of it.
Vance, Zach Allen said after the Baltimore loss that he was adjusting to seeing more double teams, and it was something he was working on. It's been disruptive since.
Yeah.
How has he handled that? And
right.
What kind of adjustment is that for a player like that?
I think he has to handle it knowing that JFM is having success, right? So if you're rushing 4 and the center's turning to Zach, he's in double team, he's having success. So now they have to make a decision of who they turn that center to. And that's the beauty of having JFM, in the lineup for us on the pass downs, especially because he can win a one-on-one. So, it's an honor, I told Zach, to be double teamed and have every team turn to him. It's an honor. But it's my job to obviously have certain sets and certain looks where he can get his one-on-ones, and that's what we work on every week.
Coach, how satisfying is it for you and the defense to not give up a single touchdown?
That's always the goal. Our goal is always to play great red zone defense. That's where it starts. Great red zone defense to keep the points to a minimum and force them to kick field goals. But third downs, red zone, that's always part of our game plan. Idea is to keep the points low.
So playing with the lead obviously helps too, but you've been so much better overall against the run.
Yeah.
Where do you think that has started this year?
I think the personnel, up front, got better, and I think our philosophy changed as far as being more of an attack front this year, and playing with great explosion and get off up front. Obviously, when you're kind of a gap and a half team, it's tough to rush the passer, and it's tough to create TFLs. But I think how we're playing now up front, just getting off the ball every play, still playing blocks and being, run diligent, but it allows us to create TFLs and to change the LOS, and to also when it's play action pass, now we're already rushing. So there's no transfer involved between playing the block and now it's past the transfer. So I think personnel-wise and how we're playing up front has helped that.
Hey, good afternoon. Great to be with you after a good performance, all 3 phases. Good win there on Sunday, and our group really happy with the way the guys responded to the challenge, especially in our protection game and a punt and a field goal, and then able to make some plays in a return game to give us the field position. So good performance from us, but now we got a division opponent, obviously the Raiders, going on the road. It'll be a tremendous challenge, and really that's where our focus has been. They got a good unit, and so we've got to be at our best to help us win this football game. So with that, any questions?
What do you like about the personnel change on your field goal block and kicking yourself away? It's kind of obvious.
Yeah, we just moved a guy around. Also, we worked the technique. When you have something like that happen, obviously it becomes a point of emphasis, and our guys accepted that challenge. And again, that's an area that we've been really, really good at. The number of kicks and PATs that we've had over the last couple of years. So really solidified that, and excited about the way that's going to look moving forward.
This rookie class has been really successful on a kind of wide scale. What do you see as commonalities between some of these players that's maybe allowed them to be successful?
Yeah, I think across the board, and you don't like the stereotype because they're all different individuals, but I think that the players that we have brought in are high character players that have an excellent work ethic, and football's important to them. They're very passionate about the game, and all the players at this level are very, very talented. It's that intangible quality sometimes that can be the separator between being a good player or a great player, but very good class, work ethic, attention to detail, and passionate about the game.
It seems like Marvin might have more 20-plus punt returns, 30-plus kickoff returns. I'm not sure if that's true, but
sounds about right.
You got to break one though, don't you?
Yeah, we'd love to, Mike. You'd love to, and a little bit of that finish. Give their guys some credit. But you're right. We have had a handful of these 20, 25, 30 yards, which is obviously great. And when we're talking about, hey, we've had a 30-yard average, but that's a good thing to have. Like, hey, we're striving to raise that bar, but the breakthrough will be there, and I think you just got to keep chopping wood and finishing a couple of those blocks. So again, those returns that we had on Sunday were a big element of that, but we're just waiting for that breakthrough.
Ben, I know you're busy most Saturdays, but how have you been able to kind of enjoy what you've been able to see of what Army is doing this year, and obviously a huge one coming up for them on Saturday, which is kind of your, the sense of pride you have?
Yeah, a lot of pride in what Coach Munkin and that group has done up there. having graduated from there, that does hit home a little bit. So I do track it. I know they've got a big one against Notre Dame this weekend, but that's just a testament to not only that coaching staff but those players there. Having been up there, a few times, obviously graduated from there. Those are just great kids and great players, and it's really cool that those are going to be the guys that are going to provide the blanket of freedom that we're all going to live under. And so I think we should feel pretty good about that.
Is there any fun trash talk with McGlinchey or Estime at all leading up?
We haven't gotten there yet, but I can see that materializing over the next 48 to 72 hours. So, they've had a great year. And here's the other thing I really like when I hear, and I just watched them a little bit, is I love the style of play. Right, it's a tough, physical style of play where they're going to grind out those yards and play good defense. So hopefully that's a good game on Saturday, and Army comes out on top.